Hello, my name is Ivan. I identify with James Talarico because I have been looking up how to make healthcare more affordable in Texas. And I was interested in looking up, well, how many positions are there for the U.S. Senate? Apparently, there's only one, and there's only one that's coming up for election this year. And so I looked up the list of people who are running, and apparently there's a guy named John Cornyn who's already been the U.S. Senator, who is seeking re-election. And these people all have different interests. Well, the more you know. So apparently there's a thing called the U.S. Senate, for those of you that don't know. And apparently there are different issues that are being coming up and that are at stake for these elections. And I suppose it says that John Cornyn has been the U.S. Senate person. Um, However, there are other people that are also running for the U.S. Senate, which is partly involved in the nomination of U.S. presidents. So, if you care about healthcare, I personally identified with James Talarico in that aspect because he somehow made he has diabetes, and he has somehow made diabetes work for him by somehow making it more affordable because it is true that insurance is not working with working class people, and insulin is very expensive. And as someone who also has to deal with medications, I understand that that can all be expensive. So it's very interesting how there are different people involved in running for the U.S. Senate. If you're anyone in the science and medical field, it's sort of counterintuitive to be part of political science because it's not really what you learn in school. Um, it's not. It's not what I learned in nursing school. Even though there was talks about how medical science is, affected by politics and how health insurance and healthcare is affected by politics, it wasn't the first thing that you learn in school. So I imagine it's probably the same in medical school for other people who have higher education. So if you are anyone in the science field or in the medical sciences and you value science, you value people having affordable health care, it's probably very important for you to actually be engaged in people who want to make healthcare affordable for people. And also amongst other issues like keeping cyber tech abuse regulated, because I have shared already my story with myself and my parents how my mom was accused of having illegal monies, and it was just a truly fake investigation from the start because everyone knew that she was not, and therefore the past 3 years and still today is there are people who are very misguided when it comes to medical sciences. For example, at the advice of civil rights attorneys, I had to make a police report saying how there were organized burglaries against my family here at In Town Suites in San Antonio. And the first thing this guy who responds to 911 says, they decide to ask me if I were to have mental health diagnoses, as if that is a cover up for a defense of saying, well, they cannot say the truth. You cannot, they are incapable of saying the truth because of quote unquote mental health diagnoses. I simply said I do not have to respond to that because it is disrespectful. People who are hired into policing, they do have mental health issues. I trust me, I know this for a fact. So, to claim that anyone with a quote unquote who would have a mental health diagnosis is incapable of saying the truth, that is a cover up. And so they clearly do not understand mental health. And I am not saying that I'm highly educated. I'm just saying that with what I know, with my research in grief navigation, and with what I learned in mental health nursing, which I scored actually pretty well. Like I scored in the high score in the supposed national exam of ATI. So I can at least say that I have the effort and the background in that regard. So if you are someone who is in the medical sciences and you value healthcare, you value making it more affordable for people, I probably you probably should be engaged in these type of elections.